Well, good morning. I'm Daniel Dow, and this is For Your Sunday Morning Drive, the short podcast with the goal of providing some motivation, drive, and encouragement on your way to worship and helping you recenter your mind on those spiritual things on a hectic Sunday morning. We are brought to you in partnership with the Ministry League network of podcasts. Ministry League offers some great shows and excellent resources completely free of charge, and they're all available through ministryleague.com, or you can download their app. Today's episode is inspired by the words of a church sign that I found pretty interesting. I thought it might provide a fun way for you to interact with the show. If you happen to see a church sign with an interesting message, send it my way, either through our social media or through our website, foryoursundaymorningdrive.com. I'll make sure to throw a link in the show notes today. Well, let's go ahead and get the show on the road. This is episode 75, Wasted Time and Harsh Words. Let's go to church.
Are we there yet?
Years ago, I saw a church sign that had the following message: wasted time and harsh words cannot be recalled. I was reflecting on those words over the last few weeks with all the darkness that's going on in the world, and I fear that it's true. And I also fear, my friends, that many of us have let some of those harsh words out into the world without thinking of their consequences. Because you can't take it back, but oh, that we could. I'm sure we all have words that we wish we could take back. The words that maybe escaped from our mouth in the heat of the moment, that we just wish we'd kept locked down until our minds could rein our mouths back into submission. James chapter 3, verses 8 through 10 says, "But no man can tame the tongue. It is an unruly evil full of deadly poison. For with it we bless our God and Father, and with it we curse men, who have been made in the similitude of God. Out of the same mouth proceed blessings and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not to be so." Yes, it's hard to tame our tongues, but regardless, Scripture is clear that we should. Sometimes, though, at least in my experience, the truth, I think, is that we don't really want to. Because aren't there times when it is almost cathartic to let those harsh words fly? When we don't really care about the consequences? When we believe them to be focused at an enemy, which should also be a problem, by the way. When we feel justified. Unfortunately, I've seen that happen more times than I can count in the last few weeks. People on both sides of tragedy using harsh words and, quite frankly, rejoicing because of the downfall of supposed enemies. You know, it reminds me of the words of Michael Whitworth in his book Esau's Doom. In that book, he quotes John Piper when he says, "Nations, adults, and little children have this in common. Apart from the grace of God, we all tend to derive pleasure from another person's failure. It soothes our inadequacies and magnifies our successes." He then goes on to say the following: "Godly, Christ-honoring joy cannot spring from delighting in someone else's personal suffering." You see, there's the key, because godly joy cannot come from the suffering that others face. But it seems that our harsh words would tend to betray that sometimes. Many times, if we're honest, we rejoice when we see others receive what we, not God, determine is just. When those that we, for right or wrong, perceive to be our enemies, suffer, do we rejoice? In their loss of life, in their loss of employment, their livelihood, how they take care of their family, in their humiliation. Proverbs chapter 24, 17 and 18 says, "Do not rejoice when your enemy falls, and do not let your heart be glad when he stumbles, lest the Lord see it and it displeases him, and he turn away his wrath from them." Let's ask ourselves this morning, is God pleased with that reaction? And then there's the aspect of wasted time and harsh words that's directed against those that we love, that leave those wounds, intended or not, but wounds nonetheless, in the hearts of our brethren, our friends, our parents, our spouses, yes, maybe even our children. You know what I mean. The words that we wish we could have stopped. The words that, even once forgiven, are never really forgotten. The words that, even when the wound that they caused has been repaired, the shrapnel that's left behind in the heart hurts and aches? Proverbs chapter 12, verse 18 says, "There is one who speaks rashly like the thrusts of a sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing." The question we have to ask ourselves is, do our words cause pain or do they heal? And it's important, friends, because only you can control your tongue, your temper, and your time. How are we going to make use of them? Because we can either use them to God's glory or they can be used to our own shame. Our words can be used to show others the love of Jesus, or, like that church sign said, we can waste time trying to recall words that can't be unspoken. And in those cases, let me encourage you to seek the best, the most godly outcome: a humble heart, a sincere apology, and extended forgiveness. Well, those are my thoughts for your Sunday morning drive. Now it's time to hear yours. Our discussion questions for this week are: what are some examples in your life of the toll of wasted time and harsh words? Are there any wounds that our harsh words have caused that we need to try and remedy? And what can you do this week to let your tongue glorify God rather than cause division?
We're here.